De miért így forog, bazd meg, hát? A month ago, Nightmaresun posted this to the Arx Fatalis Reddit page, mentioning that he found even more cut content among the items of Arx Fatalis. He mentions that I should look into this, and oh boy, was he right? Prepare yourselves, guys. We are diving deep into DATA.pak, and we are exploring all the cut content there. This will be a bumpy ride. For those who are new to the channel, LOL is the name, Arx is the game. Welcome. Alright guys, we have a lot to cover. We have a ton of items here on the screenshot and in the list. Well, my favorite is definitely the sedative dose. I'm not going to tell you what I think this could be used for. First of all, I need to mention that I went through the trouble of looking through all the items of data.pak file, and these are from the items folder, which can be spawned into the game, but there are also other files or other folders in that pak file, so we will go through all the stuff I found, and hopefully I will be able to show you guys some new stuff. First of all, I need to do a bit of ranting. We do have a spawn command for the Arx scripting language, where we can actually insert something into the game dynamically. And here is the source code. Don't worry, I'm not going to go into too much detail. And this line bothers me a bit, because you can only spawn in NPCs or items, or if this doesn't work, then the code will check if the mentioned type is a fireball, and if that doesn't match too, then we will get a script warning that this is an unexpected type. So basically, we need to rely on Arx.pak to view anything else which is not an NPC or an item. And we do have stuff outside of those two categories, so bear with me for a second. I have Arx.pak over here, and I have the Arx folder over here. And if I drag data.pak and cancel this, then it will open that pak file, and we will see the folder structure of that pak file. So we will go into the game folder, then in graph, object 3D, interactive, and we will go through some of these folders. The categories mentioned in the scripting language is actually the folder names here, so you can spawn items from the NPC folder and from the items, but sadly you cannot from the fix, inter, and from the system folders. I have a little cheat sheet next to me, so I will try to go through all the stuff as quickly as possible. I will try to go in alphabetical order, but apart from that, I have two categories set up. First of all, I categorized stuff into a meh or uninteresting folder, and then I have a wow category. So hopefully you will find both of those interesting. We will start off by going into the fixinter folder, and our first two files are, well, not as interesting as you would imagine, is the one called arxbell. Sadly this doesn't have a texture, but the other one has, which is called bell. Well, I imagine having this in the game because when you go to the rebel camp and try to steal krahoz without having the permission given to you by Alia, then the guards will rush to a lever, and when they pull that, it will trigger the bell sound. So I imagine the rebel camp should have a bell placed somewhere. Sadly, they don't. If you check the script files for the bells, yes, I already have all the interesting stuff opened over here. If you check the arxbell script, then you will see that, well, this seems to have some toggling mechanism for night and day, and, well, acts like a clock or something like that. And the other one seemed to be tied to an instance of a goblin lord, but sadly we have no script files for that because they only exist in an FTL file state. So we cannot see how they react for the bell rung event. The next one on our list is called Bridge, and this is already in the game because this is where you need to walk on in order to access the castle of Arx. The thing which makes this interesting is the script file. This is merely a speculation, but based on this, load anim action bridge down. Does this mean that the bridge would have a drawn state where you would not be able to access the castle? Another weird but interesting thing with the bridge is that the object itself is not used. What you see on the map is part of the mesh or the terrain around you. And this can be illustrated by loading the town map into DATA.pak, the level editor of Arx, which lists all the loaded objects in the left panel, but it does not show the bridge among the fix objects. Comparing that to any other objects on the map, if you, for example, approach another fix item, for example a door, then that is actually movable or editable with DATA.pak, but that's not the case for the bridge. The next one is something called L1 Sacro Agba. This looks like a big stone slab with some funky looking Egyptian carvings on its side. Well, nothing is inside, it's completely hollow. It has some nice drawings on its top. It has a simple rock bottom, and I don't know the purpose of this. Also, it doesn't have any script files, so no further information on what this is for. The next one is something called Metal Double Door. And this one looks massive. It has a face, like 2 eyes, nose, and a mouth. And if you look at the script files, then this is a completely functional double door. It can even be lockpicked. The next one is a bit disgusting, simply because its concept. It's called Spider Egg. But this is a smaller version of the dragon egg, but still the concept of having new spiders spawning in the game is really disgusting. Also, this doesn't have any script files. The next one is something called a telescope, but sadly this doesn't look like a telescope, this is a hammer. Why would you call this a telescope? Based on its textures, this looks like some steampunk, interesting, weird machine. If you check the script files of the telescope, then this looks like that it is tied to some cutscene. Ambience, sign, sky no breach, sky breach. What? Wait, what is this all? Do we have some other cutscenes in the game? Probably a part where we can actually peek through the dark sky. Well, this is all a speculation. I don't have any facts about this one. The next one in our list is something called Zohark Hidden. Well, I'm a bit disappointed. It's just a metallic or stone slab. It's also hollow from the inside, nothing is in there. But the interesting concept is, why is this called Zohark? And also, why is it called Zohark Hidden? Is this supposed to be something which contains Zohark? Do you need to mine this out from this one? Well, the script files don't really help much with this one, but is somehow controlled by snake bowl or connected to this one. I don't know about this one, but this is definitely something interesting. Here you go, guys, something interesting. This is the elevator that we all know and love in Arx. This is probably copied from or inspired by the Thief series, mainly because of its steampunk look, but I think this other elevator would look so much better in the game. I had a small chat about this with Pedro, the creator of the Insanity mod, and he mentions that This has some collision issues, I mean the model has that, and he managed to fix that, so he uses that in the Arx Insanity mod. Oh guys, I am so desperate to try that mod out, but I am waiting for it to be completely finished. So you have this alternative elevator mechanism, and I would love to see this in the game. This fits the scenery so much better. The next one in our list is yet another door, which is called Temple Big Door. How awesome is this? Look at this intimidating, huge black slab. Imagine having this in the game. You definitely know that something evil is behind this. This is so cool. Well, sadly the script files tell you nothing more on this. Well, this says portcullis open, so this would mean that this would slide up. Whoops. The final one among the fix inter files is something called wall poison. Look at this thing. This is supposed to inject poisonous gas into a room. Well, we have other types of projectile dispensers, like we have this wall fireball in the game somewhere, and we have this which is supposed to shower you with arrows, but this one is definitely not in the game. Probably not appropriate to have a gas chamber in a kid's game, so I don't know, this is an interesting concept, but sadly if you check the script file it's completely non-functional. I guess we can move on to items, which can actually be spawned into the game. Well, the first few sections contain nothing new. They are already all in the game. So we start off by checking the movable folder. Well, the first item in there is the broken bottle. If you check this one, well, this looks completely different to the round flask you have in the game. And this actually uses its texture, so that's an interesting thing. Nonetheless, it would be an interesting garbage next to the usual wooden and stony debris. If you check the script files, well, it's glass, obviously. Thanks, Captain Obvious. Nothing special after that. Moving on to some gory shit, and we reach L7 dwarf head. But this is movable, so you cannot place it into the inventory, thank God. But this is the most complete face you will ever see of a dwarf. Well, it has its beard, it has braids down here, it almost has a complete face. I don't know if Pedro succeeded in reviving dwarves in the Insanity mod, or anyone else working with modding Arx. But I'm sure anyone who tries this can actually Photoshop down the blood and probably make a normal expression for the face. We move on to provisions now, which is probably the folder from where Nightmaresun got most of his items. And the first one on our list is the compass. And I placed this in the meh category for me, not because it's design, but simply because it is completely useless due to the presence of a minimap. It's actually non-functional because, well, you see it in the script file, it's a simple valuable with 300 price. The next one is the oilcan, which I can imagine some functionality to it. For example, the dwarven levels have a lot of machinery, which I imagine would need some oiling from time to time. That would be a nice side quest to oil some of the machines before you are able to use it, but those missions are already as tedious as they can be. Also, it could be used for refilling your lamp. Nonetheless, it is also non-functional, does nothing. It has a value of 20 if you would like to sell this, so nothing special there. And now we go to the more interesting stuff among the provisions. They are not necessarily looking better, but they do have something special. Namely, they could introduce some new gaming concepts to the game. First would be the bedroll, which, in my opinion, would work similarly to what you have in Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind, then it would introduce the concept of needing to sleep. You would not just have to feed Amshigar from time to time, but you would have to make him go to sleep. Another weird one is the clock, simply because this is not a clock, this is an hourglass. And it looks much better in the inventory. If this would be a functional clock, similarly to what you have in Minecraft, then this would introduce the concept of having day-night cycles in the game. I imagine this would be similar to what you have in Fable 1. If you check both of the script files for these files, then the bedroll is yet another valuable that you can sell. This one for 80, and the clock has some more interesting stuff, but, well, I can't make heads or tail on this. This is some random script going on some event. Well, if you have... Well, I don't know what the variable play is for, but if you... This is, well, some sort of timer. But then, if you have some random values here, then you would get the gold sound played, or the drinking, or the eating sound. I don't know if that is useful for anything. Nonetheless, it's bloody valuable. The next one on our list is one of the coolest looking ones, in my opinion. It's called the lamp, and if you have played Arx Second Life mod, then you are probably already familiar with this. This is completely functional. Well, based on the script files, this has the behavior of a torch, so it's, well, basically a torch with metal lock, and it can be sold for 35 gold, but apart from that, nothing else. The final one of the provisions is something called pole with fish. Well, this shows to have a different way of fishing. Well, you can simply use a string, attach it to that, or just shove the whole pole into the fish itself. I don't know if this is already in the game. If it is, then it might be a decorative element for the goblins, which call themselves water people. Apart from that, it's a simple valuable. It doesn't work as a fishing pole as you would expect, and it can be sold for 5 gold pieces. Also, you cannot eat the fish off from it. Moving on to quest items, we have 2 amulets right here in the beginning. We have Amulet of Great Luck, and also something called Red Amulet. Sadly, they don't have anything in the script files. They are just simple jewelry that can be sold for 150 and 250 respectively. And also we have something called Drowned Bones. You have already seen that on the beginning image. You can place this in the inventory for some unknown reasons. For me, this is a bit interesting because it would introduce the concept of drowning in water, or at least having a breath meter. But as far as I know, there are no place in the game where the water level is as big as you could just sink in there or drown. Can Amshigar swim? Oh yeah, based on the files, this has an inventory icon but no script file. We have something below here which is called mirror. I assume this is valuable, and it is indeed based on the script file, and I assume that this would be a nice addition to Alicia. Also, it is worth 200 golds. If you're a frequent reader of the Arx Fatalis Reddit page, then the next one is probably nothing new to you. I'm talking about the combined version of krahoz and zohark. What the hell is this? We have 2 serpents. They do have the texture of krahoz and zohark or something like that, but they have this serpent face. Well, I guess these two do have a connection with the snake women after all. And also, absolutely no functionality, only its name is set. The next one is my personal favorite from all of this list, and that is the sedative dose. What? What the hell is this? Is some sort of drug? Well, this opens a lot of questions. For example, who would the target be? Does this make the victim sleep or just slows it down? Who would you give this to, and who would give this to you in the first place? The script files don't give you anything on the inside on what is this for. It has a name, and it's a simple variable that can be sold for 80 gold pieces. And also it is set into the provisions, so it is probably edible, like all the other provisions. Well, I don't know. Let's move on. Our next folder is the special folder. Well, none of the items in there are actually something special that you would throw your hair out for. The first is the debug egg, which is for some reason named egg debug. It's a normal looking dragon egg. I don't know if this is actually sneaked into the other dragon eggs, so I don't know if this is actually obtainable in the game. If you check its script file, then upon using it in the inventory, first it would say that I need zohark, probably set some game variables or flags. And after that, on second use, you would get the message later, I need the super weapon, and it sets another flag. And probably sends this reload event in a timed manner. And finally, it says that I've got the super weapon and the egg enchant time. And then it would set some more variables, also set the reload. And it would give you the meteor saber, and also you would get a dragon egg. Nice. The next one is an interesting one. We have, next to the normal stake, we have a blessed variant, which is a blue version. It has a blue tint. Apart from that, nothing special. The scripts for the stake and the blessed stake is almost identical, apart from the price difference. Actually, the normal stake worth 5 gold pieces, but the blessed stake only worth 1. And also, this is non-stackable, while this is stackable. Moving on, we have some sausages. I guess Arcane Studios were big fans for sausages. We have 4 types of sausages, and mainly used for debugging or cheating. Trash can, yeah, this 4. And if you check the script files of it, well, the normal sausage is probably helper for cinematics, because this is controlling camera. This is the 0001, 0002 controls some other human characters, maybe set some flags. The 0003, well, it just outputs a message in French. 0012 sets more flags and shows more messages. Nonetheless, most of these are for cinematics and setting quest variables. The sausage V, this is the one that you get when you cheat with the bone and chair, and this lets you skip through the game and set some quest variables. The same goes for the other one. Yeah, the sausage demo and the sausage V are quite similar, if not identical. And also the trash can is for, well, destroying anything you combine it with. Though there are no hidden weapons in the game, every one of them are actually available in the game. It's a nice little detail that I wanted to show you guys regarding the bow MX, which is Lord Inut's bow. Have you ever noticed the little troll skulls on both ends? This is a cool little detail. I don't know if that is even seeable when you have the weapon in the game. Alright, before we wrap this up, I want to show you guys some of the NPCs in the game. Well, the first one is the bat, simply because it's so fucking cute. Look at this face. Oh, hi. I would absolutely creep the hell out if this would to fly into my room. The next one is the Goblin King. It's awesome because he looks like Big Smoke.
What's up?
Alright, the next one is human, female. Oh, f. And our final candidate is Ylside MX. Oh, not a. Alrighty guys, if you have made it through the video to this point, then I would like to thank you very much for watching this, and I sincerely hope that I managed to show you something new in this game. I will see you guys in the next video, and until then, keep playing Arx Fatalis. Bye bye!
Oi! Hey! Stay where you are! Stay where you are! Hey! Oi! Stay where you are! Stay where you are! Oi! Stay where you are! Stay where you are! You fight like an altar boy!